It is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. Welcome back to the deep dive. We are kicking off the week by turning our eyes toward the Motor City. We have a matchup looming at Little Caesars Arena that, well, if you just glanced at the schedule a few months ago, you might have circled as just a routine regular season game. Detroit Pistons, Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, routine is definitely not the word I would use for this one. I mean, not anymore.
Not at all.
When you actually dig into the context, I mean, really comb through the stacks of reports and break down film we looked at this morning, this is shaping up to be one of the most fascinating psychological studies of the entire season.
It really is. And look, if you're listening to this and you just want the betting line or the injury list, we'll get there. But our mission today is a little different.
Right.
We want to give you a specific lens to view this game through. We want to equip you so that when you turn on the TV, you aren't just following the ball, you're watching the chess match happening, underneath the surface.
Exactly. Because usually a Tuesday night game in February can feel a bit like filler.
Yeah.
But the narrative arc here is wild. You have this study in contrasts. You've got Detroit, this ascending young force that the experts are starting to use some very heavy words to describe.
Heavy words for sure.
And then you have Denver, the old guard, the championship pedigree, but they are walking into this game significantly wounded.
Wounded feels like an understatement, which we will absolutely get to. But let's start with Detroit. Because the biggest takeaway from the analysis I was reading over coffee this morning was a specific label. The experts are calling them elite. And they aren't using up-and-coming or spooky anymore. They're straight up saying elite.
It's a jarring label if you've been following the NBA for the last decade, right?
Totally.
It feels like we've been waiting for the Pistons to turn the corner forever. But the data backs it up. We aren't just talking about a hot streak or a good week. The breakdowns show they currently possess one of the most suffocating defensive ratings in the league, over the last 20 games especially.
Okay, but let's drill into that, because good defense is kind of a sports cliche. Everyone says it. But what are they actually doing? Is this about shot blocking? Is it a specific scheme? What makes them elite right now?
It's the mechanism of the defense. That's the key. The scouting reports highlight athletic versatility and switchability.
Ah.
In the past, Detroit struggled because they were, slow on the perimeter or their bigs couldn't move their feet. Now, you look at this roster. Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Osar Thompson, obviously Cade. They are long and they are incredibly fast.
So it's not just about one guy locking down his man.
No, it's about the collective. The analysis shows they are switching everything. So if Denver tries to run a pick and roll, Detroit doesn't panic. They don't have to scramble. They just swap defenders.
So you're just trading one long defender for another.
Exactly. You have a six guy guarding the ball, you switch, and now it's a 6'9" guy on the ball. There are no gaps. And that just kills an offense's rhythm because you can't find the mismatch you're looking for.
And reading through the notes, the experts seem to connect that defense directly to their offense. They call it, what was the term? The chaos engine.
The chaos engine. I love that term. Basically, they aren't just stopping you to get the ball back and walk it up the court.
No.
They're stopping you to run. The elite tag comes from their transition efficiency. They generate offense from their defense.
So they're stripping the ball and they are just gone. Sprinting.
At a higher rate than almost anyone else in the league. And that brings us to the guy running the show. You really can't talk about this 2026 Pistons team without talking about Cade Cunningham.
The centerpiece.
The absolute engine. And what's interesting in the breakdown is how his role has evolved. A few years ago, the question was always, is he a scorer, a facilitator? Is he efficient enough? The answer in 2026 seems to be, he's a controller.
Define that for us, because controller sounds like he's playing a video game.
In a way, he is.
Yeah.
Think of it like that heliocentric model we used to see with, say, Luka Doncic or prime James Harden.
Oh.
Everything orbits Cade. But because he's so big, he's seeing over the top of the defense. He isn't just reacting. He is manipulating. The reports highlight his ability to control the tempo. He slows the game down to a crawl when they need a bucket, and he speeds it up to a sprint the second they get a turnover.
It's interesting you mention his size because the reports also talk about how that pairs with the supporting cast. I was reading about Jalen Duren's impact, and the article used the phrase vertical spacer.
Yes.
I thought that was such a specific, nerdy basketball term, but it makes so much sense.
It's a crucial concept if you want to get why this offense works.
Yeah.
Usually when we say spacing, we think of three-point shooters.
Yeah.
Spreading the floor wide at the corners.
Right, pulling the defense out to the
Yeah,
three-point line.
Exactly. But vertical spacing is what Duren does. He is such a threat to catch a lob at the rim. I mean, you can just throw it anywhere near the square and he dunks it, that the defense has to stay glued to him in the paint.
Which means the center can't step up to stop Cade from driving.
Precisely. It puts the defense in this pick-your-poison bind. If the defender helps off Duren to stop Cade's drive, Cade throws the lob. Dunk.
Easy.
If the defender stays hugged up on Duren, Cade has a wide-open lane to the rim. And when you add Jaden Ivey's downhill speed on the wing, well, it's just a nightmare to defend for 48 minutes.
So that is the Detroit context. They're young, they're fast, they're confident, and they're playing at home where that crowd at Little Caesars has been absolutely electric lately. Now
the other side.
we have to look at the other side of the court, the Denver Nuggets.
And the contrast could be sharper.
If Detroit is the shiny new sports car that just drove off the lot, Denver feels like the reliable, heavy-duty truck that has 200,000 miles on it and is currently missing a couple of wheels.
That's a good way to put it.
We have to address the injury report because it is massive.
It is the defining feature of this game for Denver. The headlines are screaming it. No Nikola Jokic. No Aaron Gordon.
I mean, let's just be real. Taking Jokic out of Denver, that's not just losing a player, that's losing the entire operating system, isn't it?
It is. You are removing the sun from the solar system. For years, Denver's entire identity, every single play, has been Jokic ball.
Right.
Every cut, every pass, every handoff radiates from him at the high post. The expert consensus is that without him, and without Aaron Gordon, who is the perfect cutter for Jokic, Denver is fundamentally a different team. They aren't just worse. They're playing a different sport.
So does the analysis suggest they just fold, scheduled loss, pack it up, move on?
What? No, because they're still the Nuggets. They have that institutional knowledge. The sources emphasize the word resilience. They can't run that beautiful, flowing, symphonic offense, so they shift to what the analysts call a committee approach.
Which sounds nice in a boardroom, but what does that even mean on a basketball court?
It means the burden creates a vacuum that everyone has to fill. Jamal Murray obviously has to go from being closer to being the engine.
Right. His usage is going to go through the roof.
It's going to skyrocket, yeah. He'll have the ball constantly. But the interesting name the reports keep flagging is Bruce Brown.
The Swiss Army knife. I feel like every team wishes they had a Bruce Brown.
He is the key in a game like this. Without Jokic's playmaking, you need someone who can dribble, pass, cut, and defend multiple positions. Brown does all of that. The breakdown suggests Denver will try to grind this game out. They know they can't out-talent Detroit right now. They can't outrun them, so they have to try and outwork them.
But I have to push back on that logic a little bit. You have a Detroit team that wants to run and gun, that is super athletic, and a depleted Denver team that wants to grind. Usually in the NBA regular season, pure talent and athleticism just win out over grit.
Yeah.
Is there actually a strategic path for Denver here, or is this just wishful thinking?
That is the rational take, yes. The talent gap is real tonight. But here is the specific path to victory the experts outlined for Denver, and really boils down to two words: spacing and variance.
Okay, unpack variance for us.
It's the math problem. Even without Jokic, Denver still has shooters. If they can spread the floor, put 5 guys on the perimeter, they can pull Jalen Duren out of the paint. If Duren is guarding a shooter in the corner, he can't protect the rim.
Right. So you neutralize Detroit's athleticism by making them defend 25 feet from the basket.
Correct. And then comes the variance. Three-point shooting is high variance. Some nights you hit 20%, some nights you get hot and hit 50.
This is tricky.
Very. And the analysts point out that Denver's only real chance to steal this game is to just get ridiculously hot from deep. If they hit 18 or 23s, it doesn't matter how fast Detroit is or how many dunks they get, math wins. 3 is more than 2.
Math wins. I like that. But that leads us perfectly into the tactical battlefield. We know what both teams want to do. Detroit wants chaos. Denver wants control and shooting. So what happens when these styles collide? What's the friction point?
The reports highlight one specific metric that will likely decide who wins that friction point. So if you are watching this game, ignore the field goal percentage for a moment. Watch the turnover differential.
Why is that the specific key?
Because of that chaos engine we talked about earlier. But we need to be specific. Detroit feasts on live ball turnovers.
Okay, for the listener who might hear that term and nod along but not totally get it, what is the difference? Live ball versus dead ball turnover. Why does it matter so much?
Huge difference. A dead ball turnover is like, throwing a pass out of bounds or an offensive foul. The whistle blows. The game stops.
Everybody resets.
Exactly. The defense has to retreat and get set. It's bad. You lost possession, but it's not a disaster. You can set up your half-court defense.
Okay, so a live ball turnover is?
A live ball turnover is a steal, a deflection, a block shot where the ball stays in play, the whistle doesn't blow, Detroit gets the ball, and suddenly it's a 3-on-1 fast break going the other way.
And with Ivy and Thompson running the wings, that's an automatic dunk.
Exactly. It's instant points, and it gets the crowd screaming. It shifts momentum physically and emotionally, and Denver, without Jokic to organize them, is really prone to those mistakes because guys are playing roles they aren't used to. The spacing might be a little off, the pass is a split second late.
So if Denver coughs up the ball, say, 15 times, and 10 of those are live ball steals?
They lose by 20. The sources are explicitly clear. Denver must protect the bumpkin if they keep turnovers under 10. They slow the game down. They keep Detroit in the half court where they have to think, and they give themselves a chance.
So if I'm seeing Detroit just running dunk lines in the first quarter, I can probably switch the channel.
I wouldn't switch the channel, but yeah, the game is effectively being decided right there.
Okay, let's talk probabilities. We've looked at the matchups, the injuries, the tactics. What do the cold, hard numbers say?
The analytics models are pretty unsentimental here. They don't care about heart or culture or next man up.
Just the data.
Just the data points. And the data home court advantage, recent defensive form, the massive injury impact, it all gives Detroit a huge edge.
Yeah.
Most models we reviewed put Detroit's win probability somewhere between 60 and 65%.
In the NBA, a 65% win probability is a heavy favorite. That's almost implying a blowout.
It is. The models are essentially saying Denver just doesn't have the firepower to keep up with this version of Detroit.
But there is always a counterpoint. We talked about variance. What is the bear case for Detroit here? How does the model get it wrong?
Well, it goes right back to that shooter's chance. The experts caution that if Jamal Murray goes nuclear, and we have seen him drop 50 points in playoff games before.
Oh, for sure.
Or if the team collectively shoots 45% from three, the model breaks. A computer simulation can't predict a guy just getting a hot hand and hitting 4 contested threes in a row.
Right. And there's one other factor the sources mentioned for late game scenarios that I found really interesting. Let's say Denver hangs around.
Yeah.
Let's say they hit those shots, they protect the ball, and it's a 2-point game with 3 minutes left. Who do you trust?
That is the million-dollar question. Normally, you'd trust the team with the best player in the world, but, well, he's in a suit on the bench.
Right. But Detroit is young, and young teams historically struggle to close tight games. They get the yips.
They do. They get jittery, the game slows down, the whistle gets tighter. Detroit's closing strategy, according to the experts, needs to be simple. Attack the rim.
Yeah.
Draw fouls. Use that athleticism to get free points at the line while the clock is stopped. Do not settle for jump shots.
And Denver?
Denver's remaining Murray, Brown, KCP. They've played in the NBA Finals. They have rings.
They've been there.
They know how to execute in the clutch. They won't panic.
Right.
So if the game is tight late, the pressure actually flips to Detroit. They're supposed to win this game. If it gets tight, do they tighten up?
That is a great point. The psychology of we should be winning this can be paralyzing. And we should also keep an eye on the bench, right? Because Denver is already so thin.
A huge factor, the bench battle. Without their starters, Denver's depth is razor thin. If their second unit comes in and gives up a 10-0 run in the second quarter, the starters might not have the energy to climb back out of that hole.
So if you see Denver's bench just holding their own, just trading baskets, that's actually a massive win for the Nuggets.
Exactly. They just need to survive those minutes.
We have covered a ton of ground here. We've got the psychological angle, the tactical breakdown, the analytics. Let's distill this. For the listener getting their snacks ready for tip-off, what are the 3 big things to watch?
Okay, let's simplify the checklist. Number 1, the three-point line. Is Denver hitting shots? If they aren't, the floor shrinks, Detroit packs the paint, and it's over. Denver needs to stretch the floor to breathe.
Simple enough. Make shots or go home. Number 2.
The pace of play.
Yeah.
Is Cade Cunningham running a track meet? If Detroit is getting easy transition buckets off those live ball turnovers, Denver can't keep up. Denver needs this game to be ugly, muddy, slow.
If the score's in the 120s, Detroit wins. If it's in the 90s,
Denver has a shot. And the third one is the next man up test. Specifically, watch the non-Murray minutes. When Jamal Murray sits down to rest, does Denver's offense completely collapse? Or does someone like Bruce Brown or Christian Braun step up to keep the ship afloat?
I love that. It gives us a specific roadmap to follow. It's going to be a fascinating test. Can the elite young guns knock off the wounded champs?
And that actually leads to a final thought I want to leave you with. Something to chew on.
Let's hear it.
We talked about that 65% win probability for Detroit. And logically, looking at the spreadsheet, it makes perfect sense.
Sure.
But consider this. If Denver manages to win this game, or even just takes it down to the final buzzer without the best player on the planet, what does that tell us about our models?
That we might be over-indexing on stats.
Or that we're undervaluing something you can't measure. Institutional knowledge, culture, championship pedigree. We try to quantify everything in 2026. We have a stat for everything. But sometimes a group of guys who just know how to win, they figure it out regardless of who's in the lineup.
Right.
Is winning itself a skill separate from shooting or dribbling?
That is a great point. It's the ghost in the machine. Can you measure heart? I guess we'll find out.
You certainly will.
Thanks for diving in with us. Enjoy the game, watch those turnovers, and we will catch you on the next Deep Dive.